Gallimera, Gallimera, Gallimera. We are broadcasting. You can't tell with the sun today being so bright and strong. Well, what a glorious morning. I do apologise for the slight lateness of coming on air. The reason for that is I've been recollating the news this morning because there's been announcements yesterday as to what's happening, and I had to rejiggle everything this morning just to keep everything current and also on top of what's been going on. But anyway, just a quick look as always to the weather, because I know people look forward to this in the morning when they're having their cornflakes. Yeah, what a beautiful day. We are slowly getting towards the summer. And this morning, I've got to be honest, there is a little bit of a breeze, but not too strong. But it is warm. A few clouds up there, but no ominous threat at the moment for a change of weather. But it is absolutely glorious today. It's beautiful. Anyway, big hello to the lovely Maria over there in Sweden. How is it today? Have you still got snow where you look at your door? I know yesterday during the show, thank you for your choice of music yesterday with Locomoto, and also I did play My Friend the Wind as well again, although that was for Aaron as well as for Maria. But today, yeah, it's absolutely glorious. However, we are still in lockdown. Our lockdown has not changed, and we are still in the at-risk group, the high-risk group as well, Zakynthos. So again, still under restrictions. But anyway, at least the weather is improving, and everybody, the cats are looking good. There's Domino down there having a little chill. Chickens have all been fed, although the house was under siege this morning. Big shout out to Shane as well up there on Exmoor. Just noticed you popping in the chat room. Rob Davis as well. Right, let's crack on with the news. All right, I'll be back in just a tick. Can I also say a quick hello to Wiggy Winstanley over there in Cyprus? I hope you're feeling a lot better. He's the ambassador, by the way, for Wigan over there. I hope you're feeling a little bit better. I was chatting to him yesterday. He's been in the war, shall we say, poor fella. All right, but anyway, he's on his way back. He says, morning, Ginge, morning, Wiggy. Right, let's get down to what's happening at the moment. Again, I can't believe the date today, the 27th of March. Where has the month gone? And it is Saturday. It's day 141 of our lockdown. And COVID in the last 24 hours, I've got to be honest, the numbers are actually starting to look a little bit better at the moment. There was 1,496 new infections across Greece, which was down from the day before, where we had 2,588. Bringing the grand total at the moment to 249,458 since the pandemic started. New cases identified at checks into the country. To be honest, I've not put that figure in. Oh my God. I don't know if it's up or down, but the last time they were up, we had 8 new cases identified at entries into the countries. However, according to the national stats yesterday, there were 2 new cases in Macardo, there were 4 new cases in Kefalonia, and there were 4 cases on Corfu, and only 1 case reported on the national statistics for Zakynthos. However, when we look at the locally reported statistics, I'm afraid yesterday we had 8 cases reported on Friday. Now, those 8 cases on Friday, they were from people who were suffering mild symptoms. They were all quarantined for 2 weeks. Okay, 2 of these were located by the mobile health unit, the Greek mobile health unit that's doing testing here. 5 of them were from private clinics, and 1 was from a hospital where a 33-year-old man went to the hospital feeling not too well, and he was tested positive there. So at the moment, yesterday, we've had 8 new cases reported here on the island, and so we should see those figures reflected in our next thing tomorrow, all right, when the Greek government produces its stats, all right? So in the meantime, then, that means that Zakynthos, by my reckoning, we've had 252 positive cases here on the island since the beginning of the year, and this month alone, we've had 152 cases for March. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Now, when it comes to new deaths across the country, Yesterday I reported to you that was 52 new deaths. Today it's been reported that there was 53 new deaths across the country, bringing the total death toll at the moment since coronavirus started to 7,754. The average age of those people passing away was 79 years of age, and 96% of those had underlying health problems or were over the ages of 70. And just to put that in context, the death rate in 2019, before the advent of COVID, across the country would be about 329 deaths a day, all right, here in Greece. Anyway, as for Zakynthos, no increase in our death rate here at all. We've had 3 deaths since the beginning of the year. As for critical cases, that has just risen again ever so slightly. I did say to you the other day we had 706 and we'd stabilised at 706, but at the moment it is now 707 critical cases in ICUs across the country. 456 are male and 251 are female. Zakynthos at the moment, from the last information we had a couple of days ago, they have 7 people who are being treated in the COVID clinic. No word if anybody is intensive care in the Zakynthos Hospital, but at the moment 7 people are in the COVID clinic. Anyway, today's news then. From yesterday, citizens in Greece between the ages of 70 and 74, they can now start making appointments for COVID-19 vaccinations. They're going to hopefully start from next Friday, April the 2nd, and the 65 to 69-year-olds will be able to confirm vaccination appointments then. So again, if you're of that age and you want the vaccine, then yes, go and make your appointment, either through your local pharmacy, which I would say is the easiest way to do it, rather than basically your accountant can do it, KEP can do it, but your pharmacist will probably be the best way to go and get your appointment, all right? Now, there was a big meeting yesterday in Athens. The Deputy Minister of Civil Protection Crisis Management, Nikos Hariadis, announced further extension of the lockdown in areas located in deep red, which includes Zakynthos, Attica and the region of Thessaloniki as well. He also included new areas as well. And as of 6 o'clock this morning, the regional unit of Kazari, the region of Pella and the municipalities of Garina, Kilkiris and Vera are all now in the extended deep level area because of the increase of infections in those locations. Anyway, at the same time, Mr. Hariadis pointed out that the new framework created by the complementary strategy of self-testing, the Committee of Scientists will meet in the middle of next week to discuss the reopening of the retail sector, the inter-municipality travel, that means just getting around Greece, so don't get too excited about foreign travel there, and also schools reopening as well, after they've had another chance to look at the epidemiology data from that week. Now, interestingly, at the same time at that meeting, the Deputy Minister of Health, Vasily Konskoumanis, he also clarified the use of the new self-testing kits, which are going to be issued at the beginning of April. Anyway, emphasizing that the universal measure is optional for most of the population, but there will be mandatory testing for those people who fall into that criteria. So at the moment then, the actual kits are going to be delivered and into the pharmacies, and that should start at the beginning of April, and people will be entitled to go and pick up 1 test kit per week for the period of 2 months, all right? Now, Mr. Komitenis also said that this will be done in cooperations with the pharmacies and also the drugstores for the first days of the implementation. It's also being considered that they're going to give priority to people between the ages up to 67 years. So basically, that's quite a big age group that they're going to target with these free test kits. And they are obviously the most active group as well in the eyes of the Greek government. Anyway, now, Who is compulsory and who isn't compulsory? That is the question. Now, with the gradual resumption, hopefully, of the economic activity and the opening up of society, these are their words, this will be accompanied by the obligation of the citizens active in the following: coastal shipping and also shipping itself, retail, catering, tourism, manufacturing, and the courts. You will all undergo rapid weekly testing, all right? However, in order for the schools to open safely, the government will legislate that they will have mandatory use of self-testing once a week. So they are obliged to mandatory self-test, and if they don't self-test, they don't go to work. But also, they are not covered then if they should test positive and they've done the test themselves, they will get their benefits of not having gone to work. Whereas with the rest of us, we can self-test, but whether we'll still get our pay if we don't turn up for a job because we're ill, that will seem to happen. Anyway, for all other activities, the use of the self-test will be voluntary, all right, and a declaration has to be given online, but interestingly, only if you test positive, all right? And the new online platform is to be opened, which is called selftesting.gov.gr, and that will start operating, but they're only interested in positive test results. And obviously, there'll be information there as to what you can do if you do test positive doing one of your own self-tests. Anyway, the Deputy Minister of Health stressed that all rights such as leave from work and or absence from schools will be guaranteed by the confirmation of the test. So basically, if you work in an area where you know you're going to get kind of furloughed, you'll be all right. But for the rest of us, hey, we'll have to wait and see. I know what will happen. You'll just be replaced by someone else who hasn't tested positive. But anyway, I'm not sure if this is a right step in the right direction. I would rather see that people went to the pharmacies to be tested rather than relying on people to self-test at home. It also smacks of the fact that all of these testing kits have been bought and they have to be got rid of as well. That's another way of looking at it. And yes, great idea. Give free testing to people, but I think it needs to be done in a much more controlled way than relying. I'm not saying people are stupid, but people might be open to put in a I'm okay rather than I'm not okay because I'm going to lose pay if I test positive and I can't go back to work. So I think if you're going to run this, guys, run it through the pharmacies as the location to go to be tested, and do it there, all right, rather than relying on people at home to do it. And also, if you're thinking about some of the older people as well, they might not be quite au fait with how to carry out the test itself. Although they are saying it is a saliva type test, a bit like doing a pregnancy test. It's not sticking things up your nose like that. Some of the tests have been. Still, for some people, they might not actually be very happy at doing it, or very understanding or confident at doing it. And also as well, where we're going to be with false positives as well. That is something else that I think has to be looked at it as well. Anyway, also coming back to the medical side of things here on Zakynthos, there was a unanimous decision taken by the board of directors of the Zakynthos General Hospital in a meeting that was held a few days ago. No dates have been given about the meeting, about the development of extra beds for the coronavirus clinic that is in the hospital. Now, the new beds will operate on the ground floor of the hospital next to the existing ones. Zakynthos Hospital, as of yesterday, has 15 active beds, and they are now going to increase that number to 19 beds, all right? The extra beds were added on the condition that the necessary preparations will be made in the proposed area of the COVID clinic so that the needs of the patients will be treated there. So basically, they just put extra beds into the COVID clinic, and now we have a maximum now of 19 beds here on the island. And don't forget, these beds are just for people to undergo observation. If people are suffering and they think they should be kept an eye on rather than sent home to self-isolate, those are what those beds are for. We have, as far as I'm aware, 4 intensive care beds where patients are incubated. And at the moment, from the last information we've had, I don't think anybody's occupying any of those beds at the moment. However, I may be wrong. If anybody knows any better, please let me know. But at the moment, the local media hasn't said anything in that direction. Right, okay, something else which is unrelated to COVID, a little bit of light relief for you, and a bit sad as well. A loggerhead sea turtle was found dead on Friday morning on the beach of Keri, down in Zakynthos. The unfortunate animal was actually found by residents who were there walking on the beach. Now, the National Marine Park of Zakynthos was immediately notified, but until this report came out, that nothing has been done. Nobody has turned up from the National Marine Park to follow the procedures, obviously, for burial of the creature. Anyway, this has kind of upset the locals down there as well, who obviously hope that the National Marine Park would go down there and do their job. Anyway, who knows? Maybe the turtle's been removed. But one thing, do remember, please, like everything else in life, turtles have a life scale, which is probably better than ours if they survive. There's been stories of turtles living up to 100 years and longer. And turtles do die of old age, all right? There's been no report that the animal was injured anyway, physically, stuff like that. But yes, creatures do die. It is sad when they die, especially when you consider the fight they have in their lives. One, the rush to the beach, with all the prey trying to get them, and then getting into the waters and then surviving with no parental care, because turtles don't have parents who look after them like most other animals do. And 25 years later, they will then swim back to where they were born, to then obviously mate or to lay eggs and then go back into the sea again. Fantastic creatures, and they are now one of the biggest attractions to Zakynthos. Is that we are the home of the turtle across the Mediterranean. More turtles here in the Zakynthos waters than anywhere else in Greece and anywhere else in the Mediterranean, and let's hope it stays that way as well. Anyway, another story, local story then, the need to restore the cultural centre remains imperative as time works on the detriment of the historic building. Now, the cultural centre, for those people who don't know where it is the big building in the square, in Solomon Square, where the cinema is and Cocchio Grando, the restaurant is, and it's also where the library is as well. Now, that building is not in a good state at the moment, and there is cause for concern that the library in there at the moment, which I know is a big project of my former boss, Mr. Philippos of Hermes, obviously priority has to be given to the reconstruction of the library. Now, some work has been done on that, and it's important that that work continues. The library, believe it or not, the reading rooms were closed for 6 years and have only just been reopened. There's also historical information and material there, especially related to Diodorus Solomos, the man who wrote the Ode to Liberty, and is also an integral part of the celebrations for the 200 years of the Greek Revolution. And they got exhibits there they would really like people to be able to see and enjoy. But at the moment, the building needs a lot of restoration work, and there's various funds that have been going to try and get money from those to obviously put something back into the building. But they've also said as well that there needs to be a decision made as to whether the building itself is a spiritual home, i.e. a non-commercial enterprise, or it is a commercial enterprise. And once again, you've got the cinema there and you've got the restaurant at the moment. There's been a sort of certain amount of argy-bargy going on with the cinema. The mayor of Zakynthos is looking very closely at their terms of reference that they've had, and earlier in the week I did report that he was saying that some of the terms of reference for when Stigma took over the running of the cinema, certain clauses were removed which he felt should have stayed in the contract in regards commercial use of space, and also the foyer, also the tables and chairs outside. But in their defence for Stigma, I've got to say they've done a fantastic job running the cinema. I would hate to see the cinema go on a technicality. It is a business. It relies a lot on concessions in the foyer for that business to keep on being able to show films at the price that it does. €8 to go see a film in town for an adult, I think is a flipping good price, and it is something that we should not lose. And the great thing about it for us as expatriates here, the Greeks much prefer to see a film, if it's a foreign language film, with Greek subtitles, all right, rather than being redubbed into Greek itself. So that means everybody can go to the cinema. Occasionally, what I would like to see done is for Greek films to have English subtitles, because then it would be fantastic that we can also enjoy films as well from the Greek cinema as well. And they've made some very good films over the year, the Greek cinema, but unfortunately when they're publicly presented, they don't show them with the with English subtitles, which again, I would love them to do that, because it would again keep their business there. But that's something that is at a higher level than the local cinema. That's to do with licensing and to do with the film companies themselves, and the international release of films as well. Because again, it's all a business, but the concessions they have actually does keep the cinema running. And of course, the cinema has been closed as well, like everybody else's cinemas have been closed and not been allowed to reopen because of the COVID pandemic. So anyway, going back to the library, the current municipal authority has shown an intention to restore the building in cooperation with PIN, that is a government fund, and they would want to restore the buildings to its former glory, and they also want to restore the halls and that are where the library is above, normally where they do the chamber meetings, and if there's any other big announcement, it's normally in the cultural centre is where you'll have public meetings, etc. And they want to try and restore those to their former glory as well. The only time they really get used up there is when they have an official announcement. Been to quite a few of those there where holiday companies are announcing what they're going to be doing in regards to the airport, etc. And also normally when Carnival is on, it's one of the areas where people go meet, get changed, and they have special food parties where you bring bits of food and everybody goes along and puts something in. So in the end, there's a massive great spread there and people just meet up and just converse, and it's fantastic. Again, we want to see that going back to its cultural roots, but again, there is this big thing hanging over. Is it a cultural concern or is it a commercial concern? And I hope that common sense finds a way, all right, for it to be a bit of both, all right? And one will feed the other. Trust me, it can work. And finally, another bit of good news, all right? And I remember this rally. Yes, the World Rally Championship, the WRC, has announced on Friday that it's going to return to Greece with the massively popular Acropolis Rally after an 8-year absence. Believe it or not been running for 8 years. Anyway, they're going to run this in September. So 10 rounds of the Acropolis Rally will be held in September, from the 9th of September through to the 12th. The WRC is the highest level of global competition for the motorsport, which involves road legal cars racing on a timed point-to-point track compared to the usual circuit of running around and around in a circle. And it is a very skilled rally. It also used to have the nickname the Rally of the Gods because of the Greek history attached to it, and it first was held in Greece in 1951. I remember during the 1980s, it was massive. You did the Greek rally, the Acropolis Rally, and then you went over to Cyprus, and then you would do the Cyprus Rally, which again was also a very tough rally as well. So I'm pleased to see that will be on its way back. The reason that Greece has got this rally back is not because there's been a resurgence for nostalgia or anything else like that. It's basically because Chile has cancelled its race there, and they were looking for another location, and they said, "Oh, let's all go back to Greece, and we'll put the rally on in Greece." And it's not too far to travel for some of the teams as well, with all the restrictions with COVID and all the other stuff coming as well. So again, great. Out of somebody's misfortune, we've had a little bit of good fortune. And so we'll keep a lookout for that in September. I know my brother Simon is massive into his car sports. And who knows, when you come over in your camper van, mate, you might be able to watch a couple of days of the Acropolis Rally before you finally get here to Zakynthos. Right, okay, I've seen a lot of people tuning in at the moment. Going to give you all a wave and a shout out. Emma Marku, nice to see you looking in. Maria Hadelberg, we've already said hello. I hope you enjoyed the music yesterday on the show. Don't forget the show is up online now, requesting inspiration, so you can go and listen to that. Brian Redlock is there. Shane Bowen is also tuning in. Nice to see you there, buddy. Annette Hingnet is also there. Lisa Jane Baker is watching. Alf Ling is watching as well. Nice to see you. Rob Davis is also tuning in. Raffridge, buddy. Nice to see you. Shane says, Gallimera Ginge from a sunny Exmoor. I'm so pleased about that. The ambassador for Wigan, Wiggy Winstanley, is also tuning in. Morning, he says. Rob Davis says, morning, DJ. From Rob and Deb in Leicester. Nice to see you guys. I hope you're having a great day. How's the weather where you are at the moment? Teresa Ann Huggett is watching as well. Gary Butler is watching. Sam Curtis is also tuning in. Cheers for popping in the chat room on Beach Radio yesterday. I tell you what, the new streaming we've got on Beach Radio, absolutely awesome. Really, really clear. Crystal clear. Don't forget, you can still tune into it, as far as I'm aware, when driving your car around or whatever on the special app that they have. And thank you to Phil, the bus driver, the coach driver. No, sorry, the lorry driver, who said, man, I've got my speakers blaring in the cab. Absolutely awesome sound. Anyway, cheers for that, fella. Really appreciate. Henry Cameron is also watching as well. Andy Dance is watching. Tim Roberts is watching as well. Sally as well. Saw you yesterday, little Sally. How you doing? Nice to see you looking in as well, my lovely. Also, Sam Curtis says, morning, Ginge from a bright and sunny Brighton. Loved your shows yesterday. Keep up the amazing work. Hope to see you soon. Well, we hope to see you as well, hopefully when all this madness is over. Julie Meldrum is also tuning in. Denise Driscoll is also tuning in as well. Nice. That's a new name, Denise Driscoll. Christine Brown is also tuning in. Carol Walker is tuning in as well. Nice to see you. Christine Brown says, morning, sunshine here but cold. We had that in the week. Sunshine, but a bit chilly with the wind, but today it's glorious. Also as well, Julie Meldrum, Wiggy Winstanley says supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, is that how it's spelled? Is a big word, you can spell it. Thank you for that, Wiggy. I see his sense of humour's back after him not being so well. When I phoned him last time, he was in hospital. I phoned him yesterday and he's on the mend, all right? So I'm so pleased about that. Natalie Hunt is watching as well. Andy Reid is watching as well. Maria says over there in Sweden, morning, Ginge, raining here and it's +7. I thought you were going to say -7 there. Not much snow left. Would love to have your view instead. Thank you for playing the songs yesterday. Great tunes. Really enjoyed the show. Have a lovely weekend and stay safe. Thank you, my darling. Greatly appreciated. Alan Higgins is also tuning in from Glasgow. It's sunny but fresh here. Thank you very much, sir. Shane Bowen says, got to say, Ginge, brilliant dance anthem show yesterday. I'm so pleased you enjoyed it, mate. It was a real journey of exploration. We went through all styles yesterday, from dance to house to even garage of the 1990s and early 2000s, the best era for garage as well. Fantastic. Wendy Norcliffe is also tuning in. Denise Tyndall is tuning in. Susie Angus is tuning in as well. Nice to see you, Susie, from Birmingham. Billy Hester is also watching as well. Wiggy Winstanley says, ask your listeners, what about the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, whether you can spell it. Well, it's there on me comments, ladies and gentlemen, for you to learn the spelling. Brian Darlington is watching. Heather Hardy Green up there in Sylvie is watching as well. Neil Facer is watching. Richard Knight says, good work. Thank you, Richard. Mark Palfrey is watching. Heather Nash is watching in Birmingham. What does Heather have to say? Morning, mates. I hope you and Jane are okay. It's cold and windy in Birmingham. I need some warm sun. Listen, we all need some warm sun, and we also need you lot to come back with your money in your pockets and stick it back into our economy and get us rebooted again, all right? Because we need you. We need the Brits, all right? As well as the Swedes and all the other nations. but we need the British market, that is for sure. Brenda Maxwell is tuning. Somebody's laughing there. Ben Warner from Beach Radio is watching. Oi, oi. Hello, mate, he says. Also, Steve Simpson is watching as well. Just a quick one. My Dance Anthem show is being repeated today on beachradio.co.uk at 4 p.m. All right, 4 p.m. this afternoon. You can have a listen in for a second time if you want. All right, Linda and Gary are also tuning in from Wessex. Dave Lowry is also tuning in. Jan Lawrence is tuning in. Teresa Ann Huggett, it says, good morning and nice and sunny in Harlow, Essex. Christopher Lloyd James is watching. Brian Darlington says, Euro rate is not bad at the moment. 1 to 14. Let's hope we can... that means me pension will be a bit more this month. I like your cut there, Brian. I like the sound of that. Terry Taylor is also watching as well. Oh, Terry Taylor, now there's a voice from the past. Nice to see you tuning in as well, buddy. Ex-Raf Reg. Susan Waldron is looking in. Rich Grimsby is watching as well. Raina Pete Dillon is also watching. And she says, top of the morning to you. And top of the morning to you as well, Raina. Right, I'm going to have to go because I've got to cook breakfast now for Jane. Once again, just to remind you, don't forget that tomorrow night, I have my Northern Soul show going out on beachradio.co.uk. Completely different style of music. It's like going from chalk to very good Stilton, shall I say. Well, I shouldn't even call it chalk. It should be going from a cheddar to a very good Stilton, shall we say. A real complete different variation of music. Can I just say that show itself has also took on a life of its own. It's become very, very popular. It also charted as well. It hasn't charted in the Northern Soul charts, which I really would love it to see. But it has been charting in the soul charts and the pop chart. But on the Mixcloud, it just is a little bit elusive to me because it's such a niche genre. I'm like a new boy trying to wiggle my way in, and it's not happening. But anyway, it's the fun of it. That's what I love, and the music is fantastic. Anyway, got to say a quick hello to Jeannie over there, Keith Jean Bolton over there in York. Nice to see you as well looking in. I'll give you a wave back. Right. That's it from me. I'll keep my ear to the ground as to what's happening. We'll see what is going on in the world. And you have a good day. You stay safe. And once again, 4 o'clock this afternoon, beachradio.co.uk. My Dance Anthem show will be repeated. I may or may not be in the chat room, but if I'm in the chat room, I'll let you know. And any requests, dedications or anything like that for future shows, pop them in there and I will get them in. And tomorrow, I'm going to show you the real Soul Cream van because it's Sunday tomorrow. I will show you the real Soul Cream van because people have seen the picture of it and say, Ginge, is it real? Is it real? Well, I shall show it to you tomorrow in all its glory. Look forward to that. I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.